Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going strong in our scrapbooking series. My last video on this was about the basic scrapbook supplies that every new scrapbooker needs. And the second most requested video was how I lay out my pages. So today we're going to be going through that process. I'm going to be scrapbooking a spread from a trip to Wilmington that we did earlier this year. It was a beautiful time to be there and just warm enough for us to get in the water. But that is the spread that I'm going to be doing today, and I'm going to walk you through the process. And by no means am I an expert. This is just what works for me. But usually I'll go over to my Canva design, and as you can see, I keep the first page of my design, the different ideas for what I want to create next in my scrapbook, because I now just have a drawer filled with things to scrapbook and a bunch of ideas that I can't scrapbook fast enough, so I have to keep a list. The second page of this Canva design is the exact dimensions of my scrapbook. I like to plan the entire spread because sometimes I'll do designs across both pages. So my scrapbook is 5.5 inches by 8.25 inches, but you can create any size that you need on Canva, and then it'll fit exactly on your scrapbook. So make sure you size it correctly. But next I will begin by importing the photos that I might want to use. And while I do this, I also will be gathering the different things I gathered from the trip or event or whatever. So for this event, I have a little card. It's maybe 2x3 that we got our room keys in. So I'm also going to create a little 2x3 card diagram to have on here. So I've imported all of my different photos here, and I'm now going to look through them and figure out what I think I could do with them. I'm going to resize them all and fit them all into 2x3 because that is the size picture that I can print out with my HP Sprocket. And it's also approximately the size of a Polaroid if I choose to print them on the Polaroid instead. Sorry, I just lied. I'm actually going to go through the pictures first because I know that I'm not going to be able to print all of these or fit them all on the page. So I'm going to go through them really quickly, and then I'm going to resize the ones that I want to keep because that's going to take less time. I also have some bluish colored backgrounds that I'm going to hopefully be using. Okay, now I'm going to crop all the remaining pictures. He's such a loud drinker. I don't know if you can hear him. Oh. Okay, he's done. So I'm going to bring in our blue backgrounds, and I have more of a light blue background as well as a more dark blue. Okay, now we have all of our pictures, all of our components. What I like to do to kind of balance out my pages is I'll like to gather a lot of photos on one side, so especially photos with people. So I'll either kind of make this side a kind of people themed side, if that makes sense. And then this page would be dedicated more to the scenery. Sometimes I'll like to balance it like that, where there'll be less going on over here, and then this will be a more busy page. For some reason, I like when it's kind of balanced out like that, but sometimes I'll make them a little bit more equal. So I'll kind of play around with this for a little bit to see what I end up liking best, and then go from there. Okay, so I've kind of come up with somewhat of an idea here. I have gone with my original idea of grouping kind of the people pictures over here and then the pictures of the scenery on the other side. I'm planning to have this photo be inside the keycard holder, and then I'm going to draw a little doodle of a digital camera to overlay with this picture. I just felt like because I only have one element from the actual trip, it just was feeling a little bit boring being just pictures. So I'm gonna spruce it up with this digital camera. In all of my spreads, I like to include the date. Okay, I've added a bit more structure to the layout. I'm going to add some sort of Wilmington logo inspired by this kind of, it's like National Park billboard-esque, and then maybe some little doodles down here. So to summarize some of the tips that I have collected over the years to create the most appealing scrapbook pages, in my opinion, are as follows. And we can see this in the design that I have just created, even though nowadays I don't have to necessarily go through these 10 tips every single time I'm creating a scrapbook page and make sure I check off each of the marks. You don't need to meet all of these in every single page, but it can be a good guide as you're just starting out scrapbooking to look over and kind of guide your thought process as you begin, and then soon it's going to become almost second nature. So number one, make sure you have some sort of focal point. So for example, with this design, obviously this image in the center is the focal point, but your center doesn't always need to be the focal point. I could have set it off a little bit here. It's still the focal point just because it is the topmost layer and your eye is just most drawn to it because of the composition of the photo. It's the busiest area on this page. I think isolating one picture or one element to be your main focal point and placing that somewhere where everybody's eye will be drawn. So that's why I've placed it in the middle and on this left side. Second, while I didn't do this in this design because I kind of just have an eye for it, but also Canva kind of lines up stuff for you. But when you're just starting off, you can use a grid actually to line up your pages. And obviously this isn't exact in the actual scrapbook. I might want to, you know, align these two photos with each other, or maybe not. I like the look sometimes of a scrapbook that is just kind of thrown together, more of a junk journal, but you can see what feels right for you. But as you're just starting out, it might be useful to use a grid, and you can just follow the different lines in that grid. And if you line up your different pictures on that gridded surface, you'll be bound to create some sort of cohesive layout. My third tip would be to stick to a color scheme and commit to it for both of the pages on the spread. So this is why I like to do a double spread for one event rather than taking this left page for our trip to Wilmington and this right page for something completely different, just because I like how it looks when I have the book open and it's still this blue neutral toned color scheme. But this is really dictated by the photos and the different elements you want to use. Luckily, all the photos, and because it's the beach, have kind of this blue color scheme. I have blue backgrounds available, and the key card holder, which I know you can't see, but it's kind of a navy blue color. So that worked out perfectly. I didn't have to deal too much with that. But obviously if I had a key card holder that was orange, for example, because this and this are kind of the most focal objects on the spread, I might want to create maybe a blue and orange theme. So this really depends on the different elements you have dictating your pages, but I would try to stick to some sort of common theme in your backgrounds, photos, and different add-on elements. My fourth tip would be definitely to layer. So I know this isn't some people's preference, but I really like this look. All of these photos kind of layered. You have to open up the key card holder to be able to see this photo, layering the different doodles over top the photos. I just think that it looks more homey, and I just like when it looks kind of haphazardly thrown together, even though clearly I'm not just throwing this together because I've spent a lot of time already planning it and we haven't even touched the scrapbook yet. But I just like when it looks authentic, and I think layering the different pictures allows you to fit more content onto the page, but in a fun and interactive way. My fifth tip would be to include some sort of journaling or drawn element. Now, again, I know that this isn't some people's cup of tea when they're journaling, but I really like the authenticity of me trying to doodle these in, even though I'm not an artist. Adding the date in, attempting to write out this Wilmington sign, it just feels more authentic. And my boyfriend and I talk about this all the time, but we talk about, you know, showing our kids one day these scrapbooks. I feel like it just adds a personal touch to the scrapbook that can't be recreated in any other way. So if you're not necessarily a doodler, you can even write like a little note, but something just a little bit more of a personal touch. My sixth tip to really up the ante on elevating your scrapbook designs would be to mix and match different shapes. So I guess I don't really exemplify this too well in this spread, mostly because I don't have my printer available right now, so I can only use my HP Sprocket. So all my pictures are going to be this size. Normally, if I had my normal printer available, I might be inclined to make this a little bit bigger as more of a background element. I would love to make this bigger even and include it just as the bottom to this spread. I think that that would look even better than what I have created right now, but I don't have my printer available. But I really, really, really like using the pictures as the backgrounds themselves. I think this adds a lot of texture and a lot of depth to your layout, but it also allows you to mix up different shapes and sizes. So I also like my HP Sprocket because it prints out on sticker paper. So I'm able to, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut across the horizon so it looks like this blue background is maybe the sky for this picture. My seventh tip would be, don't be afraid to have a little bit of white space. And this is something I still struggle with, obviously, because originally I had this and I was like, oh my God, it's so empty. I need to add more, which is usually where I go wrong because then I end up adding more and I hate it and I can't take it away. So maybe this is something that we will revisit while I'm putting together the actual layout, but definitely don't be afraid of that white space. If I were to take away these elements, it doesn't necessarily need to make it look bare, but it could just be exemplifying the focal point on this page. Number 8 would be to have some sort of motif within each of your layouts. Now this could be a pattern. For example, this diagonal, I really, really like doing a diagonal like this. It could also be symbols, so I could have a bunch of stars around the page and it would automatically make it look a little more cohesive. It can be as simple as, like I said, gathering the people on one side and the scenery on the other. I think having some sort of theme can make a page look really cohesive. Number 9 would be to add some visual anchors, I guess you could call them. This might including some washi tape on the corners here. And these are a lot of embellishments that I'll show as I'm putting together the actual page, but I don't necessarily plan out, but usually add at the end. So adding maybe some washi tape up here and down here to kind of bolster the structure, even if the washi tape isn't actually functional in holding down the paper, I'm obviously going to glue it, but just to add some structure, maybe drawing a thin white border around these pictures. Any of these things to provide structure, for some reason, just makes the page look more put together. Last but not least, my 10th final tip for you guys today is to incorporate elements from the event that you are scrapbooking. For example, I have the key card holder here. A lot of my other pages have a lot more little mementos included. It can literally be anything. I think adding little mementos from the actual trip can be really powerful. And this is why I really love scrapbooking. I feel like I talk about this every single scrapbook video, but I really love a scrapbook because it allows me to keep all the junk, even a receipt, which normally you would just throw away. So it's just made me appreciate the smaller things in life. Okay, so now that I have planned out my layout, kind of bare bones, what I will do is keep this page up on my computer while I print out the photos that I need and draw up any remaining little add-ons, and then we will get to putting it together. First of all, look how close I am to being done with this scrapbook. I think there's literally only 6 more pages left in this scrapbook. Anyway, let's get into actually doing this spread. And I brought out my little Fujifilm printer because I was like, oh, I'm gonna show them me printing the Polaroid because people like to see that. That's fun. Lo and behold, it's out of film. So I will not be able to show you guys printing from the Instax printer today, but instead I'm going to print another photo with my HP Sprocket. As you can see, I printed the other ones that we're gonna need for this spread. Here is the keycard holder that I was talking about. I drew a little outline for our camera, and then I have our backgrounds. But first, there she is. Cute. And I know you can't see it because it's a little bit off camera, but I do have my laptop in front of me, which has the inspo that we just created on Canva open. So I kind of have an idea of where we are going with this. I'm going to start by cutting out the rest of the elements here. So I'm going to cut out a portion of the card holder so I can place this inside of it. That was easy. And I'm going to paste this image inside so I can get the back off. It's always hard with nails. Please. Okay. Cute. Keycard holder is good to go. Next, bring out my cutting board. I just reorganized my desk and I organized my scrapbook supplies a little bit more, and it's already like a mess. However, if you guys want to see how I organize all of my supplies, let me know, and that can be another video. Okay, now we are going to cut out our backgrounds, cut out this. I love my X-Acto knife for stuff like this because it's so much easier than trying to use the scissors, obviously, and it cuts so easily. It's so satisfying. Like, it almost feels as though I'm not cutting it, but then clearly it is cut. How cute. So the picture that's going to be going in there is this one, which I took for real on my digital camera. I can cut the numbers out. Again, X-Acto knife for the win. So then I'm going to just paste that in the corner where it fits in the digital camera. This is the light blue background that I have. I cut out both of my backgrounds. Let's paste those down, clean up the edges, and then get started. I'll wait. Not him stopping immediately. Oh. So I'm gonna line up everything just so I can get an idea of where everything is gonna fit. In order to make sure everything fits, I'm actually going to paste this second picture of the bubbles. It's all rainbowy. I apologize, y'all, my light died. Anyway, I've pasted another photo on the inside of this key card holder. I love using my digital camera to take pictures because, one, I love that it keeps the date. Obviously, I'm a very sentimental person, hence all the scrapbooking. And also, I've had my digital camera for so long. I took a picture comparison of my digital camera side by side with my iPhone camera, and the quality is like exactly the same. So why not use the digital camera? It's more fun that way. Cute. Okay, here is the first side completed with the different photos. So you can see through this example some of the changes I might make from my Canva spread to the physical spread. In the Canva spread, I had this picture as more of a background behind here, but once and this was honestly poor planning on my part, but the key card is a little bit bigger than 2x3, which is what I was accounting for on the page. So it was already going to take up more of this background picture than I wanted. Additionally, I wanted to be able to see these little waves at the bottom. I hadn't accounted for that in my layout originally, so I had to move everything up. There just wasn't enough room, but I really like how this turned out. All the pictures are still obviously included. It's just more of a 3D interactive layer, but you can see I'm still utilizing a lot of those principles I talked about layering here. Playing with different shapes doesn't necessarily always mean, you know, a circle picture or something like that, but I like playing with horizontal and vertical alignments. So here it's 2 landscape images and then 2 portrait images as well. There's still structure. They still follow this grid line here, even using the edge as a border. And now let's complete the other one. Now this one's a little bit easier because I'm literally just going to put down the photos exactly how I had them in the layout that we created on Canva. By the way, guys, you should go follow my Instagram if you wanted to see more of my life and see these pictures being taken real time. Like I was discussing earlier, I feel like I should always play it simple when I can. Is my inclination to want to do more on this page? Yes. However, I'm going to try to be tame because I need to follow my own rules, which is there's okay to have white space. There's not even white space on here. There is a background on both pages. What I am going to do is I do want to add my date as we planned. I might move the Wilmington tag to be down here. I just want to remember where we went to, and then I might add in some stickers and some washi tape. And stickers, washi tape, those types of things, I never really plan out in the design that we did in Canva, for example, but usually we'll just look afterwards because I feel like it always looks different in Canva versus on here. But I feel like I can never really get a good sense of where the stickers and washi tape need to be until I actually see it in real life. My stickers aren't super well organized at the moment. They're literally in bags. Oh my god. I didn't know there were 3 packs. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm terrible. I'm like one of those people that always wants to save my stickers because, like, oh my gosh, what if I need them later? But why would I need them later? I might as well use them now. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Again, as I talked about how my spread changed because I wanted to be able to incorporate the waves here, my spread is now changing as well because of this butterfly background. I'm going to include a little butterfly somewhere, but these are just ways that your spread might change as you go along. It's cute. Now, final touches. Let's get my white pen out to mark the date. All right, guys, I followed my own advice, left it with a lot of blank space, and I decided to just write in Wilmington in a simple cursive as to not detract from the rest of the page. But here is the other side, and again, you can see how my layout has changed from what we originally planned, just based on the background page, what it looked like on paper. Next, we're going to do a little side-by-side comparison of what we started with in Canva and then what I actually put on the page. So if we look at these two spreads, they're obviously following the same idea. You can see that on the left-hand side, we've grouped the people pictures. They're in a diagonal, and then we have some extra pieces like this tram ticket and the label of Wilmington. So here we already knew that the Wilmington sign and the little doodles were going to be kind of on the spot decisions, and this is what I decided. I think that the original design would have been cute given that the background was a solid color, but because the background here, I really like the bugs, I like this almost water-like texture, I really didn't want to take away from it too much. So I just put the pictures, some washi tape, wrote Wilmington, and added one sticker. On the other side, again, as I explained, because of the background, I had to shift things up. This was a little bit bigger than expected. Ended up moving things around, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really, really like, again, on the spot decision, this added on 3D butterfly because it almost brings this side to life as you go across the page. It's like you're taking this picture and this butterfly just landed on your camera as you were taking a picture of the beautiful sea. And I really love this 3D element here. I love being able to hide little pictures in pockets or unseen bits. So here with my Valentine's Day spread, obviously little hidden elements there. Different pictures inside this museum spread where I cut out a bag from the shop. Different records for this record player, which again is super fun. Let me know if you guys, once I finish this scrapbook, if you want a whole tour of the entire scrapbook, because I did some fun spreads earlier on that I never filmed. But anyway, I love this little 3D element here. It gave me more room to add more pictures, which I love, but also is a fun memento from the actual trip itself, and it makes it fun. It's 3D, it's interactive. So here is the final spread compared to the original Canva spread where I first laid it out. Today we've gone over my top 10 tips for laying out a page and how you can get started on your beginner scrapbook journey. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions in the comment section below. and let me know what you want to be the next How to Scrapbooking for Beginners series. I can, as I've mentioned, show my desk and the different ways that I organize my scrapbook supplies, but I can do anything else as well. If you have any questions, just let me know what you want to see next in this series, and I hope to see you guys there. Bye!